Standing by for me, Mr. Olayinka. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining the program. Hello, Mr. Olayinka, can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Yes, I can hear you. It's my pleasure.
Great stuff. The market has been, we started this week a bit of green, but from yesterday, we've seen a change. I was impressed with the performance, particularly of UBA earlier this week. And I also see, I think Zenith Bank is out with their figures. These financial institutions are doing pretty well. What is your take with regards to the performance and this negative close today?
Okay, yes. If you judge by the performance of the companies, those companies, particularly the ones you mentioned, have actually done well. And market itself ordinarily should have actually reacted positively to those, to those results. I mean, if you go by the result from UBA, that is something that I will call an unusual performance from that bank. I mean, from that group itself. And of course, if you go by what happened today, I mean, when the result of Zenith Bank was released, it was also a super performance. In fact, Zenith Bank is something that I'm still wondering how they were able to attain that feat. Having just issued new set of shares, and those shares allotted, to those new shareholders that participated in their, new capital raising. And so with that, Zenith Bank is still paying dividend on those newly issued shares. And you see market reacting negatively. That is something I would describe as mispricing or misjudgment of investors. Sometimes investors, take some decisions that you cannot really rationalize within the context of what will be happening in a market like this. Now let's look at it this way. The earnings per share for Zenith is 32 naira 7 kobo, and dividend per share is just, I mean, for the whole year is 5 naira, even though they are paying 4 naira now. I think what I see there is that some investors are not so pleased with the dividend that has been declared, believing that Zenith having earned as much as 32 naira 7 kobo should have been able to declare more than 5 naira in all for 2024 financial year. But I will think that dividend is not everything. When companies declare dividends, you also have their retaining earnings that that still remain there for you to earn in future, or for you to play around with in future, which the company can still give back to you. So in pricing those securities, I keep saying, what you are trading, when you trade equity, we are trading earnings and earnings prospect. And when you are trading earnings prospect, you do not just judge the performance of the company with just dividends that have been declared, because the rest is there for you, which you can earn in future. And when you are pricing it, you also have to factor in, the earnings, I mean, the retained earnings and the earnings prospect. So that is why I said sometimes we call it misjudgment by some of these investors, especially those who are not so savvy. And that was what we saw. We saw the kind of a reaction from other investors who are picking it, who are actually buying them out. Some bought them out, and while they were able to pick as much as possible today for Zenith and even for UBA as well. So sometimes you see market is just surrounded by some kind of irrationality, and at that moment you see some investors who understand the market taking advantage of that and buying and buying off them. So that was what happened in the market today. I think it's just that some investors were displeased with the dividends so declared, not minding that there is something still left behind for them in the retained earnings. How can they be trading at be trading at PE ratio of less than 2? I mean that in less than 2 years, the company, the investors can get back their money by way of earnings. If it's trading below, PE ratio of 2, or trading at 68.55% earnings yield, this is unbelievable. I'm actually displeased with sometimes the behavior of some of these not so savvy traders.
Well, indeed. Before I let you go, we see that DMO has crossed 1 trillion naira in Sukuk bond issuance as demand continues to swell. How would you also react to this?
For me, I think that taking from the market, DMO taking 1 trillion from the market is something that has to do with the fact that they just want to increase the supply of government security to the market. Well, they are doing so because they are mindful of the fact that there could be a reversal of inflows from foreign portfolio investors. And I think they still have to exercise caution. It's a good development for them. It shows that market has the capacity to absorb as much as what DMO or federal government is able to put to the market. But taking that much, they also have to be very careful because of the fact that we are having a mountain of debt already before us, and which should be a challenge of the future. That is also partly responsible for some of this behavior you see in the equity market, where investors are just wondering, are we going to be in this high yield environment for a long time? If you are going to be there, then to what extent do I continue to price this equity securities? But I tell you, with the kind of earnings yield that we are getting from some of these companies, some of these banks, I don't think anybody should be mispricing some of these equity stocks. So that's the way I look at it. But for DMO, it's a fantastic offer. They've done well, but again, they have to exercise caution, because mountain of debt is something that you have to be very careful of.
Interesting conversation, as always. Investment banker and stockbroker, Mr. Tajudeen Olayinka, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
The UK's finance minister has confirmed that the country will not escalate the ongoing trade dispute with the United States and is actively working with Washington to secure an exemption from tariffs. Finance